Hello, hello.
Hello to our audience and our attendees. Welcome to this afternoon's episode of our workshop, which is going to be covering overcoming imposter syndrome, unlocking your potential. And we're going to be diving more into this subject as we go on throughout our workshop today. I'll just first like to introduce myself. My name is Susan Falola, CEO and founder of Jubix Limited, and I'll pass it over to my colleague to introduce himself.
Hello again, and thank you, Susan. I am Donard Gola. I am an Albanian from Kosovo, and I'm responsible for operations and partnership here at Jubix. It's up to you again, Susan.
Yeah, so obviously we want to give a shout out to our MT members. Donald, do you want to go through the MT members?
Yeah, I have been part of Jubix for nearly 2 years. So some of our management team of ours have been with me from two years. Some of them have joined us through the journey. So I will mention all of them, as we know now that Jubix is a diversity group, and all the team it has from a place of the world. So we have Ricky Mormon from Ghana, currently living in Canada. We have Caleb Moses from Cameroon. We have Herman from Ethiopia, currently living in USA. We have Orva Iriza from Kosovo as well. We have Bright Atsigi from Nigeria, Raymond Kalumba from Uganda. I think I mentioned all of them. So I have to say a big up for all of these guys, because as we know, all of us have been doing this voluntary for a few years now, and what we have achieved and what we have proved until now, it's just what a group of people voluntary with just a big spirit can do when they become together, and this is only a live proof for that. And I want to thank all of you guys for being part of us until now. As well, I want to thank you, Susan, for being not our leader, but our mentor, our guidance, as we have become so-called experts without being expert at all, and we have gone passing steps, sometimes 3-4 steps in the same time. But this is why we are here, and this is why Jubix is, because we push each other, and this is what you have made. So thank you for especially this last 2 years and what has happened to me as you have been throughout this journey. So yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that, Donald. We also like to say a big thank you to our past MT members, which is Divya T from India and Alfred Botang from Ghana. Big shout out to them, because they were also part of the journey and helped us to get to where we are today. So really big shout out to them and for their efforts along the way. We have two amazing speakers this afternoon that will be speaking on the topic. So definitely look out for that. And we're going to go straight into the workshop after we just give a brief introduction about who we are and obviously what we're about. So I'm about to share my screen. Let me just share my screen real quick. Okay. So who are we? We are the Global Tech Sprint Leadership Recruitment Agency, the GTLRA. We are welcoming you guys to the future of work, innovation, and leadership. The GTLRA leads with transparency and shared learning to provide the world with a diversified recruitment agency that advocates inclusive change across all markets, to share financial equity across platforms. Our mission is to provide this service for international, both within and outside schools, as well as universities, to drive innovation, shared knowledge, and facilitate cross-border leadership, thus paving the way for a brighter, more interconnected future. Okay. The future of work, innovation, and leadership is changing rapidly, and enterprise organizations need to prepare talent for these digital changes. The GTLRA is a hybrid, decentralized, autonomous organization with a digital infrastructure which allows centralized management. We mix the core ingredients of collaboration, decision-making, and shared skill base to provide an AI matching service. The workplace is more dynamic and interconnected, and talent need new skills to adapt to new technologies, think creatively, and collaborate effectively to solve global problems. We are driving technology advantages as well as talent, shifting their mindsets. GTLRA's remote learning offers talent flexibility, control over their time, finances, and career path by giving them the opportunity to work for different companies within the Jubix ecosystem. And this is where I'd like to pass it over to my colleague to start our workshop for this afternoon. Donald?
Thank you, Susan, for this briefly introduction of the GTLRA. So as you are aware, today we're going to talk something else, something more personal, something that we all have been dealing with, especially with us who works remotely, because by the end of the day, we are alone in the room and it's just us and our thoughts. So even that we work and everything, by the end we are fighting with each other because it's just us and our ego by the end of the day. So welcome to the workshop, Overcoming Imposter Syndrome, Unlock Your Potential. So as we mentioned, we're going to be the hosts, and we're going to start this. We're going to be speakers first, me and Susan, about explaining what this imposter syndrome, sharing something from our side, how we have sharing some of a personal life, our journey, how we have handled the situation, because by the end of the day, everybody had that period of life when it was the darkest period of our life, and we have to be proud of how we have passed those situations in our life. And it's nothing to be shy, nothing to be afraid of, but it's good to share with people, and it will be motivation for somebody as well. So going to the next first, before going forward, let's, Susan, do you want to start first, or should I move on?
Yeah, if you want to give a bit background about yourself, about your journey, yeah. I think that will give.
Yeah, okay. So some of you have heard it, who is hearing, some of you may not. I am Donald Golai. Right now, I'm part of Jubix for 2 years until now, and I started here as a developer, going forward being lead of front-end, then facilitating the program. After that, we have been managing until now, and now I'm part of operations and partnerships. So everything has happened in 2 years. But in the meantime, I have been working as a front-end engineer for a company called MasterWiser, a US-based company. I have not been, haven't had a technical background before, and I never ever thought that I'm going to be part of the technical world, as I used to work as a bartender nearly 7 years. It wasn't really 7 years, it has other jobs in the journey as well, but mostly it was 7 years or 4. Before that, after high school, I have to go more in details about this because it's that darkest period of my life. Yeah, I was saying it right. After the high school, so I wanted to get in the army. I didn't get accepted. We have to have a clear mind of ourselves, a clear thought of ourselves. When some things doesn't happen in our life, we have to say, okay, that wasn't my road, so we have to move forward. We have to see what is the next thing, what can I do else, not just getting stuck there. So after that, I started, I got a University of Physics. It wasn't for me again. I was too young, too crazy. I wasn't serious. So I let that as well. Got back in my city because universities are in capital of my country. Then started working as a bartender. I used to work in the high school as well. Then after that, this way I was too negative. I was thinking that I was the most positive person in the world, but I wasn't. I was the most negative person, and my aura was giving that negative thing when you feel to some people. So after that, after that, I was early. I had the mind to go to live outside of our country because, as you know, here is something. It wasn't good. It is becoming better, but I had this mindset to go living somewhere else in Europe. Then I was too blocked in myself. I was thinking too much. I was being, let's say, I was in a room and tied, and I couldn't move. I was thinking that I'm doing something, but I wasn't doing nothing. I was just working and living. So I was too blocked inside. But I didn't stop still, and after that, I tried to go in the legal way. I no first I was accepted at the university in Canada. I didn't get the visa 2 times. I was 19 that time. Then after that, I tried to go in illegal way to Norway. I failed in that as well. I got caught from police. Then they got me back in my country as well. So I was 19. I got back a job again. So again, I didn't stop. I still, even that I had really bad thought. I'm really thankful that I never stopped, and I was doing everything I was trying to do to give the best of myself, and it was worth it. So after that, I got back again at the bar. Then I started drop shipping. This is when I was something like 4 years ago, something like this. I started drop shipping, and was my first step that I took in technology in the technical world. From that, before starting this, I used to work as a sales agent, and this is where I knew that I'm good at sales and marketing. So when I started drop shipping, I moved again to Capital to check something for marketing. But I was living with my cousin, and he was a programmer. So by that, we were just discussing and talking, and he said, "Man, just try. Let's start learning. I'm gonna teach you. So if you like it, you're gonna continue coding." And I just took that step, and things after things, all the doors got opened. I got a course, I got a training, I found about microverse. After microverse, Susan found me. After 3 months of the program, I got the first job. And here we are today talking about all of these things and sharing about everything. But one more thing, even that I didn't stop. And even that I was doubting myself every day, talking the worst thing possible to myself, I still tried to not to fight with myself. I was fighting depression, anxiety, and everything, but still by the end of the day, I was the winner, and I am the winner now. So yeah, I guess I went more in detail, Susan, but it's a lot of years, so I guess it's good sometimes to share more things than we can share, and some people will take it better, some may not, but still I like to share, and I hope somebody will get motivated from it.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm motivated by your story every day, Donald, and obviously being part of your journey as well is also, just helped me in understanding different people from different backgrounds and also managing people from around the world. So yeah, I'm just going to dive a bit into my background. So I started my journey from an investment banking, talent management perspective, working for a corporation bank. I, studied accounting and marketing. So I finished with a 2-1 degree. And after, kind of having some corporate experience, I felt like the corporate world wasn't for me. I felt that, I wanted to be in an atmosphere that, really honed in on creativity. So, I thought to myself, I want to, see what entrepreneurship is all about. And that's when I first, put my foot into the soil of entrepreneurship and started my own edtech company. So my initial first company was in edtech. I created a metaverse for children, and I have a lot of, receipts, as they say, to say that it wasn't a new idea. I wanted to create a augmented reality environment for children to learn about well-being and STEM activities, and this would be all centered around a 3D clothing line. So if you can imagine children having a clothing piece, and they would have a phone, and they would be able to put their phone on the the fashion clothing, whether it be a jumper or whatever, and they would be able to actually see animation come out from their clothing, and this would build their STEM skills as well as well-being skills, because I believe that both entwined together. So, I stepped in the journey. I remember I'm coming from an investment talent management background, don't know nothing about fashion, nothing about technology, and nothing about how to actually make the first steps. So what I did, I first started to kind of do all the drawings and kind of do all of the design aspects, because I was really good at drawing. So I drew a strawberry on a piece of paper and I created it like it was 3D, and that's kind of how I started my whole journey in my edtech company. Further down the line, I spent over £30,000. So I had spent £30,000 towards sampling. Remember, I knew nothing about sampling, so I actually literally needed to learn from the scratch and build up my skill knowledge along the way. So dealing with Chinese manufacturers, Turkish manufacturers, you name it, I dealt with them all. I learned how to make a tech pack from scratch. I learned how to, make sure that this tech pack was kind of like maybe a Q&A document, but for garments. So it was to make sure the quality control of the sampling was done correctly. I obviously, was able to get some samples, but then I also wanted to have the augmented reality, right? And I also wanted to have the t-shirt has a scent of the fruit that it has on the t-shirt. So if it was a strawberry, it would smell like a strawberry. If it was a banana, it would smell like a banana. So you can imagine, I had big, massive dreams and big visions for my business, and I spent £30,000, still got to an MVP. So when I say MVP, I didn't have the animation. The augmented reality was still by the side, and as well as the centered aspect. I'd been working with some scientists in outside London. So I'd actually have to travel on the coach to go to these scientists and work with them to try to create this centered aspect. So anyway, cut long story short, I got to a point where, oh my gosh, like how many other people, are in the situation that have an idea, that have a great idea, have a fantastic idea, cannot, get to a certain stage and then have to drop off the idea and go back to work, or have to, just quit the idea itself. I was like, there must be a platform or solution that solves this issue, that brings all the right stakeholders in place to help you grow and scale your company. So I did my research, got out there, went to ServiceNow, various different technological conferences. When they say fake it till you make it, that was me. Going to all of these conferences, talking to all these tech experts, which I had no idea of tech, right? So now I was developing my skills on the go. So when I say on the go, meeting people, learning, meeting someone else, learning again, meeting someone else. So as I was developing my learning, it was becoming quite productive for me, because actually I was learning a lot more things than you would learn even if you just went to a workshop or you went to a business meeting, because I was speaking to various different people, different diversities. This helped me to really make my solution workable for cross markets and across countries, because I actually got those people to give me their feedback. So that's kind of where I pivoted and created Jubix, the solution, where we match you with the relevant stakeholders. As a service, we give you that opportunity to scale your company with the right talent as well as investment. So the investment is not just to back the company or the founder, it's actually to back the talent that you've been able to recruit along the way. So that's where Donald comes in, obviously, and the rest of our team members, where they've been able to really back my cause and actually help to develop the platform that we have, which is a trio of products and service, with our main app being the matching algorithm app that matches the stakeholders, but then also our Meet, where you can actually speak to various different stakeholders, as well as our game, which is more of an interactive application, so that people will never get bored in our marketplace. So I hope that gives a bit of an overview of my experience. But just to let you know, even in the last 2 years, that Donald has described, I've been attacked over 5 times, actually physically, and had to just, and we're going to talk about more about imposter syndrome later, but keep that face, that mask that everything is okay. Even talking about it now, I can feel the cry at the back of my eyes. But sometimes you just got to keep going, and you got to believe in yourself. And when you believe in yourself, there's so many things that are possible in this world. So that's one thing I want to leave with all our audience members before we go into the presentation of the slides. So over to you, Donald.
Thank you, Susan, for sharing a lot. So yeah, this is what it means to not stop. And pretty much when we don't stop, we're gonna win, no matter what happens. If it's gonna take a lot of years, by the end of the time, but we're gonna be winners. We're gonna be winners for sure, because if we don't stop, we're gonna win. If we stop, there's nothing to not win. So now we're gonna go forward with the presentation that we have prepared today, and after we do the presentation, we're gonna call our speakers, so we have a discussion with them as well. So, Susan.
Yes, so this is where we talk about, the different types of imposter syndromes, what it could feel like. So we have a couple images here because we wanted to give a visual representation. So the first image is where you see a lady standing in front of a mirror, right? So she's looking at herself and thinking, can I do this? Am I able? Have I got the right skills? Is this actually me or is this somebody else? And then you've got another second picture where he's got loads of question marks, right? His mind, which could make it feel like you're literally in the clouds, like you're literally, flying away with the wind because you don't know where you are. Am I best placed here? Actually, what about this? And what about that? And you're asking yourself a dozen questions, which makes you feel even more in a complex state of mind. And then you have the third image where you feel caged, or you feel like, you're imprisoned by your emotions or your insecurities, you feel imprisoned, you feel like, there's no way to get out of this, there's no way to actually overcome the situation that I'm faced with. And then you have the fourth image where, there's so many things surrounding, your focus, where you want to, your goals in life, things that you really want to achieve. But there's so many things, your family, your networks, people that are fully engaged every day with you on a daily basis, just over occupy your mind and how you're best suited to process your thoughts. And then you have the last image where even you actually feel that when you're looking in the mirror, you're looking at a masked person. So you can't actually see yourself. Can you imagine that? So you're looking into a mirror and you can't see yourself. And that in itself shows you a variety of ways that people could potentially have imposter syndrome and how, they might feel that there's no way to overcome this, this reality that people face on a day-to-day basis.
So what Susan said until now, she described some scenarios of how the imposter syndrome or imposter feelings, we can use that word as well, we face them every day. So there is, what is imposter syndrome, imposter phenomenon, or we can call it imposterism. Imposter syndrome is a psychological pattern in which an individual doubts their skills, talent, or accomplishment and has a persistent internalized fear of being exposed as an imposter or as a fraud. Let's say I have done what I have done, but believe me, even this big, fast movement of what happened with me, let's say in the last 2 years, even after microverse and everything happens so fast. So if I stop and think what happened in the last 2 years, I don't know what to say, because I know that I worked really hard for this. People who were with me throughout my journey knows this really well. I just worked hard for that, but I was moving too fast as well. So what I want to say with that, it had a lot of moments when let's say I took operations here in partnerships without never I'm a strict person. I like to have things natural. I'm a natural strict person. I like to have things in order and everything. So this is kind of my thing too. But I never have done operations before, so this was my first time. For example, even partnerships in the same time. I was going to meetings for the first time and everything, but sometimes I was doubting. Am I ready? Am I doing? What am I doing? Why am I doing this? Even in the coding side, at my company, I moved from junior to front end. Now I'm leading two projects as well. So sometimes blockers just make me that fraud that I think, what am I? Why am I having this task? Why am I doing this? So please breathe. We're gonna talk again more about this, but these are just our ego talking, and ego talks. In fact, what happened in us in the past. It's not, nothing is real, but it happened before. It's not gonna happen again. So just breathe a lot, and then continue, and you're gonna make everything possible. Just do your thing. The term imposter phenomenon was first used in an article in 1978. It was published first in an article called "The Imposter Phenomenon in High Achieving Women: Dynamic and Therapeutic Intervention." It was done by two psychologist women called Pauline Clance and Susan Imes. What they did, they took first 100 women, really achievable women that were doing really great in life, and so they were doing this discussion with them and having a lot why they are feeling like frauds, why they are doubting their self, because they have done so much in their life. So by the end, they believe that this mental framework of imposter phenomenon developed from factors such as gender stereotypes, familial problems, cultural norms, and attribution style. We can say, for example, if we have, even when we are growing up, if we have strict parents, or we're going to be criticized all the time, whatever it happens with us, that is going to be too much in the future, is going to cost to us. It's not a mental disorder, but it's a way how we react in situations. So that is happening from something before, and we have to be careful how we react in situations, because it can go, we can go more deeply in our thoughts, and that is not it's not what we want, but we want to be in the same line with our thoughts. Okay, next.
So there's various types of imposter syndrome. I know which one I am. I'm a perfectionist. I always see a vision, and if I don't see that in any work that is produced, I tend to take on the work myself. So what I do is obviously kind of give someone a task, say, go do it. And then they come back, they're like, I've done it. And I'm like, it's not good enough. You know, maybe I don't even say it to them. I actually just go ahead and just start reworking it myself. And I realized that I also micromanage people. So, you know, if you're a bit like me, we would fall under the perfectionist person who, you know, always wants everything to be perfect. I would also say that I probably fall under natural genius. And the reason why I say that is because I always see things differently than other people see it. So, you know, there's loads of platforms, you know, that offer investment, you know, loads of freelance platforms, loads of social media platforms, but I really don't see the value. And let me home in on this. Why I say that is because these platforms, obviously, they help us to connect, but do they help there to be value sustained in the network? You know, a lot of, you know, blockchain networks that I've been part of, AI networks I've been part of, they could have like maybe 1,500 people in the chat. How much value is every single member of that network really receiving? Is it only 10 people of that network? So that is the value. So why is the extension of the other members? So these are all the things that I think when I'm thinking of ideas. And it also could be, you know, a type of imposter syndrome, you know, me thinking, oh, I'm creating something that is not out there. So maybe no one will understand exactly what I'm trying to create. Then you have the expert, you know, I would say Donald falls under being one of the experts, he likes to really know, what is being done. So if you say to him, "Oh, this is what we're going to go and do," he will come back and be like, "Why? I need to know the ins and outs." He wants to know the ins and outs, so that he doesn't just want you to do it, but he wants to know the ins and outs of how you want to go about to do that. Yeah. And you have the soloist. So the soloist is more the person that, is more introverted, potentially doesn't even work well in a team sometimes. So, they might be able to attribute to the team or contribute to the team. But when it comes to actually working in a team dynamic, they find it much more harder. So they prefer to be given the task outside of the initial network. And then you've got the superhuman that believes that they can do it all. I think I used to be like that until I realized that my ideas are way too big. And there was no way that I could do it all. And hence why, since I've had people join me, we've been able to succeed much more faster. So you're not alone, as the big yellow sign says. There's 70% of successful people reported the experience of imposter syndrome. And there's also 75% of executive women who say they experienced, imposter syndrome. So, these percentages are quite big in numbers, right? So you can imagine that, a lot of people in the world are actually experiencing that and may not even know the word imposter syndrome, but they are experiencing these kind of feelings, emotions, thoughts, feelings, and it makes them, kind of, what you would say, undermine their skills, undermine their quality, their value that they bring to a team, infrastructure, whatever it may be. So it's really key to home in, understand the issues that you face. No one said that you shouldn't face those, but then try to see, how can I overcome them? And we're going to dive into that later, but what are the things that I can do to help and support myself when the imposter syndrome arises within me? It's really key that we dive into how we overcome these situations. Over to you, Donald.
Thank you, Susan. So I'm going to try to give a little bit explanation about these images. So we learned that imposter syndrome is self-doubt. So when we doubt ourselves, when we try to do things. So am I doing enough? Will my results hold up scrutiny? Am I the best person for the job? What I already mentioned. But what I want to talk more here is about this image that is saying about what I know and what I think others know, because kind of if we live on a place, let's say, especially small cities or small countries, judgments are going to be always there. So kind of when we live to prove to somebody else, not ourselves, because when we start to learn about this kind of things, that we are living for ourselves and nobody cares for us, we're going to live for sure. And that's where we're going to make something more from our life and moving forward. But still, whatever we do, we try to prove, not to us, but we are trying to prove to somebody else, even if it's going to be our friends or family or our circle. But it explains really well in this other image what I know and what others know. They will never know how I am, how I feel, what I know. I will never know for somebody else as well. Even if from people that are near me every day, we will know some things that we want to share, but we will never be 100% honest with anybody. So we have to stop this, and we have to think for ourselves first, to think for things that we're gonna do, breathe, call, and you're gonna go slowly in everything. About your thoughts and everything, go slowly, analyze them, don't overthink them. I'm a really overthinker person. I'm a super overthinker. But I used to read. I had some months when I used to meditate every day, and this helped me a lot to stabilize myself. And this is where I started to learning how to go through thoughts. I'm still not professional, like I will never be, maybe, because it's a thing that you need to do in repetition. But still, I used to I do go through them, and I try to analyze them until it happened. Susan is aware. For example, last month or something, I had 2 months, 2 weeks that I was fighting with my thoughts, but I went through everything and it passed just like I wanted with my hands. So just be you, be for you, and be for yourself.
Yes, I totally agree with Donald. There's times, even this Saturday, I was really, going in myself. I lost my mum 7 years ago, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that can relate. Losing a loved one, whether it be family members or whatever it may be, but specifically when it becomes your parent or even your child. So losing my mom was a real big significant impact on me. It really made me not feel as strong. Yeah, this Saturday was kind of darkness, and I had to overcome myself and take myself out of that darkness. And the only reason why it hurts so much is because actually my mom was my brother, my sister, my cousin, my uncle, my aunt. So I didn't actually have any other members except for her. So if you can imagine, I feel like I lost my whole family in that year. So yeah, even having the Jubix family, they might not even know, but there's a lot of support that they've given me that has helped me, be able to become who I am. So don't just look at the title CEO, CEO is because of a team that backs that CEO. Yeah. So any CEO out there that is all, oh yeah, I did everything. No, what makes a CEO, a fantastic CEO is the team that backs the CEO. And as you have heard from Donald, everyone has been backing me voluntary. Donald's never met me, we don't have no blood ties, but he's been backing me based on what he believes, that this marketplace can bring to the rest of the world. And when we go back to the workshop, in terms of the questions, to find out about, imposter or whatever you want to describe it as, for example, have you been told that you can micromanage people? So I touched on this earlier, and I did say that I do fall under the perfectionist. So yeah, I was micromanaging people initially. And if you even see, more about the Jubix ecosystem and the marketplace that we created, we have done this based on people being leaders of themselves. So they don't even know nothing, right, Donald? But we have ourselves experts, because what we have done, we've created a family where we can share information, share knowledge, and grow and learn together, which actually happens much more quicker than you doing it on your own. So this is really key, to be in a workplace environment where you can actually feel free, you can feel included, you can feel valued enough to be able to fight against any imposter syndromes that you may face. So these are just certain questions, as you can see here. Do you work on future projects to get ahead and not have any downtime? Do you reject work that you're not good at and seems challenging? So this is another thing in the Jubix ecosystem. We challenge every single person. So don't get, if you work with me for 3 months, oh wow, Susan's really challenged me. But the only reason why I challenge you is I want you to leave me as a leader of tomorrow. So that is the only reason why I challenge people in such a short period of time, so that when they leave me or when they continue working with me, they know what is expected of them and they can actually rise to that challenge. So yeah, back to you, Donald.
How we can see ourselves that we are having the imposter syndrome or the imposter phenomenon. So what is the things that we have to look out for? When you doubt your own accomplishments, be grateful. This is how we can pass it. We have to be grateful what we have done, what we have achieved. So if you're going to doubt your own things that you have really worked for that, don't get on your thoughts. That will be a problem after that. You question the skills you have. This is again what I said. You have proved that you have the skills to get that achievement. So why never doubt that as well? You feel you are being wrongly awarded. I don't think anybody will get awarded wrongly if you don't really work for that. So if you work for something and you totally deserve it, you're gonna get awarded for it. So again, be grateful for that. Feeling like one is not intelligent enough. That is something we always learn, and we can always every day we'll learn, and every day we're gonna have more information than a day that we'll have before. So don't get too deep in that. You feel like you got lucky when you actually prepared well and worked hard. Sometimes some things are lucky, but mostly in life we have to work hard to get things. You're convinced you're not enough is the same thing. If you work hard, you're gonna get the things. You turn down opportunities for growth or visibility at work. This is something I don't support, because if you're gonna have a chance, please take it, because chances will come and go, will come, but sometimes they will not get back. So please use all the chances that you have. Here we have a demonstration how imposter syndrome can cost us in money. But how is that? For example, it costs because when we start having thoughts, we start doubting ourselves, we lose time, because we can start thinking we're going to be not demotivated, start being anxious. So it's just a demonstration. For example, stress is $988 per year. Work tension, 2,244 per year. So this is kind of comparing time with how many money we are losing. There are a few more, two or more slides that we're gonna show, and then we're gonna call the panelist in the screen. Susan?
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, when you talk about strategies to cope with imposter feelings, you can share your feelings, so express yourself, talk to others. Another thing, you can focus on others than yourself. So if you feel like thinking about yourself and your goals is taking over your mind, focus on others. Focus on other people, what they're dealing with, or what issues they're dealing with, because you might be able to help them, which then helps you. Assess your own abilities. Really assess what you can and cannot do. Don't do what you cannot do. Be your own decision maker. Take baby steps. If you know that it's going to take some time to get to this certain place, you need to take baby steps. Don't try to take the leap before you can even jump. And question your thoughts. Question, why am I feeling like this? Why am I thinking like this? Why is my thought process, in this way? And also stop comparing yourself or comparing others. Don't compare, oh, this person's got a car, or this person has a house, or this person has a child, or this person, I'm too old to do this. Do not compare. There is no comparison. It's as and when you feel ready. And then also use social media moderatively. So I would say social media right now it's just a bunch of bollocks. But in terms of social media, it can take over your time and it can take over your mind. So if you are on social media for a long time, it can actually take over how your thought processing is. And stop fighting your feelings. It's okay to feel down. It's okay to feel, stressed. It's okay to feel in the mood. Accept it. Accept it. I am feeling like, and you just deal with it in the moment. Refuse to let it hold you back. Even how you're feeling doesn't need to hold you back. Keep having that focus, keep having that drive, and you will definitely get there in the end. Over to you, Donald.
Now we're going to do a little comparing of self-doubt versus confidence. It's good to be confident, of course. We have to be confident. Sometimes a lot of confidence can be risky, depending on the situation. If we get too much confidence, it's not too good. Even if we drink a lot of water, it will make us, our belly is going to hurt. So everything that is more than it has to be it's negative, but of course we have to be confident, and without being confident, Susan would not be here. I wouldn't be here with Susan as well. And this way, how I am talking right now, when I joined Microverse, I had this Balkan Albanian accent in English. I used to mix up words. I still have it, but it's totally different. And now even this live session thing has become so easy. It has become like we are on a call. But this is what I'm trying to say. If we manage to become like this, and I have proved this to myself, and I'm using this and trying to tell people as well. Because what I'm saying is self-doubt, for example, is a very common trait of human beings. Again, I said before, our ego is going to talk to us. So if our ego is based on facts, what happened to us, and it's a way of life. We always going to have those voices in our head. Can I, will I, do I? And everybody has experienced self-doubt at some point in their life. Even that is true, because we live, and without this, what's the point of life? Because if everything was so good, would it be, it would be really easy. So without a little pain, sometimes it makes you feel alive. So that's what's makes it more beautiful. It is a decision to not to try. Yeah, you're gonna get scared. You're gonna limit yourself. You're not gonna try anything. And what's the point then? You're gonna live in a circle. You're gonna wake up, do the same things, sleep, wake up, and all of your life is gonna be like that. But no, don't do that. Please try to get the best version of yourself. So this is why we are having this workshop, and we will try, at least, even when we talk with our team, we try to be positive and share positive with everybody. Stop comparing yourself. Susan mentioned this as well. So that's the worst thing that we can do. Nobody's the same. Everybody is different from each other. So never compare yourself. We don't know what happened with me, with Susan, with everybody else. Somebody has become bigger early, somebody has done it later. So everybody has their time. Who knew that I'm going to start technical award in 24? Now I'm nearly 27, for example. So everybody's going to have that period life of time that they're going to be. There's a book called Point. I don't know it in English. It's a point of return, I think. It says, even in life, even in business and everything, it's a point of life when you're always going to go up. So you stay horizontal for years, let's say, it's a point you go a lot up. So even the business, he says it's the same thing, because it's a point on the business when it's gonna make the big up, and we're gonna go up. So surround yourself with positive people. Of course, this is what I mentioned. We try to share positive vibes with everybody. Be kind to yourself always. Talk to yourself and practice positive self-talk. I said, go to your window and talk to yourself. Just talk to yourself, and it's gonna become better. So yeah, we came to the end of this a little bit long presentation, but we try to go more in details. Here we have some images. I can't cut it. You can. I can do this. Don't use this word anywhere. Everything is possible. It depends only if you want. So, and we want to end this presentation with, we all can, we all will succeed. Don't let doubt hold you back. Step up, get started, and be your own cheerleader. Whatever you do, just clap yourself, and this is the best thing that you can do. Thank you for listening to us. Now it's the time to call our panelists. If our audience has any questions or something until to this point, please feel free to ask. So we have as panelist a person that I know for it has been I think 2 years as well. Huh? Yeah, and Mustafa was my ex-coach. Mustafa was one of the people that directed me in this journey as well and was aware with me. So thank you for joining us, Mustafa, and it's really a pleasure to have you here as our own panelist. And I'm really happy that you accepted to be part of this workshop today.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Can you please do a little introduction about yourself and what you want to share with our audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So, first of all, I think both of you have done really great with the presentations. I believe imposter syndrome is a real impediment to people's careers and their success, whether they're entrepreneurs or they are in the place of work. And I believe sharing those stories go a long way to show people that everyone has encountered imposter syndrome at some point in their lives. So thank you for that. So my name is Mustafa Yakubu, and I am the founder of Careerly. I have worked across different industries. I've worked in e-commerce. I have also worked as a digital consultant and also career coach at Microverse, where we work primarily with software engineers, to help them move to the next step of their career. Currently with Careerly, I am building an AI, let's say, tool for job searchers, basically tools that will help job searchers land their ideal jobs by making it easier for them. And I'm excited to be here and happy to share any insights that are needed. Thank you.
Amazing. Really nice to meet you, Mustafa, and really, nice to hear a little bit about your background. So yeah, let's go straight into our first question for this afternoon. So our first question for you, Mustafa, is how can leaders create a workplace culture that supports the self-confidence and self-efficiency of individuals with imposter syndrome, empowering them to contribute their full potential to innovation and leadership?
So I think that's a good question, because when you empower people in the workplace, that's when they are able to work at their full potential. This reminds me of setting company culture right from day one, and not just setting it up, but reiterating it all the time, right? So that whenever someone comes in, they're aware that they're supported and, they are able to fail, right? That is accepted. So just to give you an example, at Microverse, we have casual weekly meetings sometimes. And in one of these meetings, someone talks about the beverage they're taking for that day, any asks from team members, but most importantly, they talk about one blunder for the week, right? So that's a way of expressing, like an environment where anybody can fail and it's completely okay, right? So you talk about it. Some are very simple and silly and people laugh about them, and some are more serious, right? And that opens a lot of opportunity for everyone to feel safe, right? And be able to be at their best in work. Another important thing is, for example, I know Google has this open culture that encourages risk taking, with a motto of, fail fast and learn, right? So you're encouraged to fail. And that, I think, breaks down the whole imposter syndrome that someone could have, right? Because you're encouraged to, fail fast and learn, right? I think Facebook has something like build things and break, something like that. So they also have that culture of just like implementing, right? Go ahead and do things, and it's okay if it doesn't work out, right? So these are all, I think, examples of things that could go a long way in fostering that environment, right? That takes care of imposter syndrome, and obviously for even mid managers and managers, it's about celebrating success, right? So it's all those little things. If any team member does something that is good, whether it's in the all hands meeting, whether it's in the team meetings or chat, you talk about what they've achieved, right? Oh, by the way, this person has done X and Y, right? And even as colleagues, encouraging each other. So, yeah.
Amazing. Donald?
Yes, yes. I would like to ask you, Mustafa, how can individuals develop a resilience mindset, bouncing back from failures and setbacks without allowing them to define their self-worth or deter them from pursuing their goals? Kind of, I
Yeah.
want to know your opinion on that.
Yeah. So that's a trait I think that winners have, right? And that's what the average person does not realize. It's like a lot of these winners go through adversity, right? A lot of adversity and difficulties. But what makes them different is their ability to come out of it, and not only come out of it, but to thrive and succeed. So just to give you one favorite example of mine is Jack Ma. He is one individual that has failed countless number of times in countless number of situations, right? He failed in primary school, in middle school, right? At the teachers college while trying to become a teacher and get certification. He was even rejected in KFC, his local KFC. 23 people were hired. He was the 24th people not to be hired. When he started Alibaba, he went to the US. He didn't get funding initially, right? But that didn't deter him because he knew that he had it in him, right? He trusted his abilities. And there's one important concept that everyone should realize is that your biggest competition is usually yourself, right? So if you're able to own up to that and be confident that failures do not define you, right? And even the most successful people have gone through series of failures, right? For people that are fans of Harry Potter, right? J.K. Rowling was at her lowest when she wrote Harry Potter, right? She was almost homeless, and she talks about, how when you're at the rock bottom, that's when you propel back up, right? So having that mindset of knowing that failures do not define you and others have been in that situation or worst situation will help you succeed at the end. And I think finding the right community also where you share information with each other, and where you listen to other people's fears and failures and anxieties and success, I think that also goes a long way in helping someone become more resilient and overcome the issues of imposter syndrome.
I just love the way that you give a real rounded answer, Mustafa. And I like the way that you touched on J.K. Rowling. I mean, she's one of my inspirations myself. And she's definitely, a big inspiration for the world. Who would have known, a single mother living in a council flat, nearly, rendered homeless, is now a billionaire. And, everyone knows about Harry Potter. So, yeah, it was a really good reference point to give. I really appreciate that. Our next question is, how can individuals with imposter syndrome navigate the challenges of future work where rapid technology advances and constant change can exacerbate feelings of inadequacy and insecurity?
Yeah. So I was having this conversation, well, something similar with my team. I was telling them we were discussing about this recent developments with OpenAI, right? And then Google bringing out Gemini AI, right? And then you have Amazon bringing Gemini AI, and so all these different things, right? So Amazon is Amazon Q. Yes, there's a lot of all these models, right? So, but the point I was trying to make was, I told them that, look, well, if you are in a certain industry, right, you always have to be one step ahead, right? And that's by always being close to the news, right? Understanding things as they unfold. And most of these companies sometimes are developing all these new technologies and they are talking about them, right? So you do not have to wait till they're actually published, right? And immediately they come out with their technology. You know, sometimes you have beta testers, for example. You have communities around those technologies. So my advice would be always form that habit, regardless whatever industry you're in, of trying to learn the new things, right? Being comfortable with it and setting out certain hours in a particular day or some days or the weekend for personal development, right? Where you have to acknowledge that as a person, for you to succeed, you do need to learn, right? You continue learning. So, for example, Satya Nadella of Microsoft talked about, don't be a know-it-all, be a learn-it-all, right? So have bias towards learning, right? Have bias towards learning and improvement. And if you have that, that's a way to actually easily navigate whatever it is that is coming your way, right? Not before it comes, even before it comes, be proactive. Go out searching for it and go out improving yourself.
I think we have a question from the audience, Donald.
Okay.
Yes, we have a question from Amel. When you have this, let me show it. Yeah. When you have this monkey talking in your head saying, no, you can't do it, you're not good enough, what is the first thing to do?
It's funny you mentioned the monkey talking. I think there's this Tim Urban of Wait But Why or something like that, that he talked about procrastination, and he talked about a little monkey talking in your head, telling you not to do something, right? And it's no different from, I think, imposter syndrome. So I think when you have that monkey talking in your head, the first thing you need to do is to understand, well, what is the reason behind this, right? What is causing this? Is it just fear that's coming from, without any validation, or is there a validation for it, right? So for example, if you're having a project at work, and you're kind of scared, right? Because you do not know well how to do it, right? Let's say maybe you have to code in a new technology. Well, that means that you have to step back and figure out how to learn that technology, right? So that's taking action. If it's, let's say, something that you're used to doing, for example, if I was to come and give this talk and that monkey tells me that maybe you will not do well and all that, I will shut the monkey down immediately, right? Because I know that I can do it because I've done it before, and it's not something that I'm not able to do, right? And I think that will come from a place of self-confidence. Always being confident in yourself and your ability is what will make you to succeed. So even when you hear that voice, become rational. If there's a reason behind that voice, meaning that you need to improve, go ahead and improve, but do not let it deter you. Be confident that you will succeed. Imagine how many times Jack Ma had to shut down that monkey, right, for him to have succeeded. So that's what you should always try to do.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mustafa. Let's go into our next question. So in terms of how can leaders leverage technology and innovation to address the challenges of imposter syndrome and foster a culture of confidence and self-belief? So, how can we use, technology to actually leverage and actually maybe create solutions or frameworks that can actually support the challenges of imposter syndrome?
Yeah. So one is, I can remember at Microverse, we have this Office Vibes. So it's like a software tool that allows you to, give feedback anonymously sometimes, and also, most importantly, leave praise, right, for your coworkers. So maybe after a project, and that's completely optional, right? But it's encouraged. So after a project, let's say I work with Donald, for example, I can just go and say like, Donald, you have been really amazing. Thank you for all your efforts, right? And then I put it and he sees it in his wall. And then, suddenly you realize that you have all these messages in your wall of people telling you how amazing you were and what you did, right? The impact that you made. And or sometimes you have this little buttons where you click it and maybe it says you're a superstar, I appreciate you every day. So all these simple things that encourage people, right, to share praises and compliments with each other. And that worked really well, right? And to this day, if I look at it, I feel really happy. And even things that I did that I don't even remember, right? Someone talked about it, right? And they praised me for it. So I think those kinds of tools are very important. Another thing is encouraging brainstorming sessions, right? Where people are able to all bring down their ideas. So tools such as FigJam from Figma, tools such as Miro, or is it Miro, and Mural, where you allow people to collaborate and brainstorm. And usually brainstorming sessions are sessions that allow you to talk about any idea in a very, very, very safe way, right? You're encouraged to bring all ideas, and then, they're curated and the best ones are taken, right? And I think it's Deloitte that has this kind of gamification system that they created where they allow people to, complement each other, to do things, and there's this gamified way of doing things. So I believe all these kind of things, they help towards reducing that barrier and producing a lot of the results that people want. And obviously you have AI. One of these companies, I can't remember which one, has AI taking all your information, right? And they bring it out to you and show you all the things that you've done, right? Maybe the hours you've spent, and then all of a sudden it looks impressive, right? This is all I've done. Think of it like all these things that Spotify does at the end of the year. Is it playback or something where they show you all the songs you listened to, your top artists, the number of hours you've listened to something, so something like that, but work related. So these are kind of the things that technology can be used, and leveraged at the workplace to help solve issues relating to imposter syndrome.
So before we go into our last question by Donald, I just wanted to go on your response. So, you talked about AI and, different platforms that people can use to collaborate, etc. And then you talked about, obviously, when they can show you your portfolio, of work or contribution over a period of time. So I think I saw that with GitHub the other day. I think you can and I thought, wow, this animation is so incredible. You've got this animation, how many pull requests and which languages that person has worked with. I think it was one of our coders that actually posted it the other day, and I found it quite immersive, but I didn't know if it was AI or tracking. So I didn't know if it was a tracking tool that they use to just track all of the work that's done, or if it was both an AI embedment as well as a tracking tool to actually see the course of time what people have done. So yeah, thank you for highlighting that, Mustafa. Over to you, Donald, with our final question for this afternoon.
I would go with, how can leaders promote the use of gamification and social learning platforms to create engaging and supportive learning environments that foster collaboration and knowledge sharing?
Yeah. So there are a couple of things that can be done. So in my team, we use Teams. Funny, no pun intended. In my team, we use Teams, right? From Microsoft. So they have all these little different tools that are like add-on apps, right? That just foster engagement. So there's this app, can't remember the name, but it gives you like yoga session if you want, or like breathe in, breathe out, right? All these kinds of sessions that bring people together. And when people are brought together, right, and they feel they're safe, right, that level of imposter syndrome goes down. That's when you begin to have honest conversations of people talking about how vulnerable they are doing X and Y, and they get the support that they need, right? Another thing is having casual channels, right, where you post memes, for example, right? But that channel is meant for memes, and you just discuss and post memes and laugh, right? And one ritual we were doing at Microverse was, as a team, weekly, right? You post updates, right? One update is about your personal life. Another update is about work, things that you've done, and then another update is about where you're struggling, right? So these are like three things all meshed together and coming together to allow people to really, really interact and have that little bit of, let's say, social part of doing things, right? Of interacting, so that people feel that they are closer than they think, right? And even if it's in an office or workplace, for example, creating events, as we have with all these tech companies that have, let's say, maybe after hours on Fridays where people can have drinks and interact. They are important. So companies like Facebook, for example, they have this let's say, innovation projects where they do hackathons. That is a super way of getting a lot of people involved, right? Because they actually get to build things. So I think doing those kinds of things where you allow your employees to do things will really help to foster that creativity and work towards gamifying kind of the whole system.
Absolutely. It's good that you talked about feedback and stuff. So what we do here at Drubix, we actually have a system where anybody can contact anybody. So whether you're in management, whether you're a leader, whether, we don't care. We just have that structure in place, obviously, because everybody needs a structure. So, I know loads of people talk about decentralization, but you still need some form of centralization for decentralization to work. Yeah. So, we have the management team, but then we have everybody else there, right? But they can contact Donald, Herman, whoever they want to contact on a daily basis, they can contact them, as well as we also give feedback, like what you said, praise and feedback to individual members. And we also have a GM, so a general meeting where we actually ask members individually on call. So even if we have 20 members, 24 members, we go individually to every single member to say, how are you? How are you doing today? Are you okay? If there's something that you don't want to say on call, DM me after. So, obviously there might be something of concern, but they don't want to address it on call. So we also have that after effect of the meeting, that we actually can get them to DM and let us know where the issues lie. So yeah, it's really, really positive, in terms of, all the things that you shared today. Really, thank you so much, Mustafa. I'm sure Donald is probably going to say his own things. But yeah, really insightful. I think you really gave some rounded answers, and I think our audience really got, rounded workshop today. Donald?
Yes, thanks a lot for being here. I want to share something else. So, who is following us? When I had my interview, it was Thursday, 7:30 p.m. I had my weekly meeting with Mustafa as my coach every Thursday. So I met with Mustafa at 4. I met with Susan at 6. I was not ready, but more than ready. I was ready for the war, to be honest, before going to the meeting it was the last meeting after I passed 4 interviews before getting the job. So these 2 guys was the guys that pushed me in that way, and I was so confident when I joined the interview. So thank you for that, and thank you as well for being part of this workshop today. It was really good, and thank you for your answers as well.
Thank you so much, Mutwa. Do you have any last sentiments that you want to share? Any,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Thank you for having me. And I just want to say that, Donald, you have been an amazing professional since I've worked with you, right? And I think that's a testament to like how you are as an individual and how everyone should strive to be, right? Self-belief, being professional, and having clear goals. Yes, absolutely. And to Susan for bringing up everything at Jubix. I remember Donald always talking about Jubix, and he's always excited when we talk about it, right? From day one, and even the last time we spoke, like some weeks ago, he was still excited. So I think that's a testament to how good you are as a leader and how solid your vision is to where you want to take Jubix. Absolute pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you so much once again. And thank you to all our audience that has been able to attend today. I really appreciate your attendance. And also I would say, remember the Juby points. So every single time you join a workshop, there will be Juby points for those attendees. And those attendees with Juby points, we will calculate them when we launch Jubix next year, and there will be some prizes that will be awarded to those people. So please stay tuned. We have another workshop tomorrow, software testing and automation. So I'm sure there's a lot of software developers that would definitely want to be joining that workshop. And then we also have a game workshop all about game and designing how you develop games on a Thursday. And last but not least, we have our big finale. So our big finale, do you want to say what it's about, Donald?
We're gonna do the last live showcasing of our products, and it's gonna be a big investment meeting live session when we're gonna present and we're gonna call for investment as well. We do everything transparent, so we work so hard and we are sharing everything. So now it's just now we gave, now we have to take. So yeah.
I like that. So yeah, as you know, for business to scale, you need investment, and I believe that the team speaks for itself. Our contribution speaks for itself. So please look out for our poster. Please reshare the poster. It's going to be a live bidding session, so people will be actually able to place their live bids on call. And also, after we finish the showcase, there will be a 72-hour period where you'll be able to place your bids, and the highest bidders will then have to compete to have a stake inside the Jubix marketplace. So really exciting times, and we look forward to this Friday that we have enough investors. And Mustafa, you're definitely feel free to join the audience. But yeah, if you know any investors as well, please do send them our way. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, so we're going to wrap up today. Take care, and thank you so much for joining our afternoon session this afternoon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.